Hi everyone and welcome to the Publishing Performance Show. Today I'm really happy to be joined by Audrey Hughey from the Right Services. Now I was lucky enough to meet Audrey in person at Author Nation, and she's such a fantastic person to hang out with. She's really fun, she's really nice, but more importantly, she writes books that are planners to help authors write their books. Now these planners aren't just any planners, they are unbelievably detailed planners that help you do everything step by step, from coming up with an idea to getting your final draft published. Now, these planners work for non-fiction writers, for fiction writers, or for any types of writers, really, who want to get their book out there. She doesn't just write those sort of books, though. She's also an author herself, but she does a lot of work helping authors to stay on track and to stay accountable. So if you're looking for more processes in your business to how you can keep on track and to get your book out into the world, then this is the episode for you. Hi everyone, welcome to the Publishing Performance Show. I'm here with Audrey Hughey, who is a planner creator for authors, and she's also a fiction writer. So thanks for joining the show, Audrey.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
No worries. I'm looking forward to this chat because I'm feeling quite disorganized at the moment, so I'm hoping it's going to give me a bit of a pep talk into how I can plan the rest of my year.
I am so excited to help.
So what you do is you create planners for authors, don't you? So let's talk about why planning is such an important part of the authoring process.
Yeah, I think it's really important because if you don't have a target, it's really hard to keep a good direction and keep yourself on track. You know, we always use this phrase, on track. Am I on track? Am I off track? Well, if you don't have a target, then you have no idea if you're on track or off track.
Mm-hmm.
I think that boils it down really well to why we need to have a plan and have a goal. Yeah. And I always talk about planning like it's just setting guideposts. Like if you're on a mountain in a snowstorm, you need guideposts to make sure that you're getting to your destination safely. And so planning is just guideposts. It's okay if things kind of don't go to plan in between.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, the way I plan most of my books is generally just with sort of bullet points, so it's not the most organized way of doing it. So what's the method that you use in order to make yourself, as organized as possible?
Yes. So I use a number of things, but my biggest tool is my planner that I created. And I was doing a lot. I was raising toddlers. I was writing for local magazines. I was working, I was going to school, and just trying to keep track of all the things without letting my writing fall off again. Like I stopped writing when I was in the Army, and I didn't want to stop writing again once I had found it again. And so I created that tool for me and thought if other people like it, that'd be great too. But I really need this because there's no planners out in the market that really fit my needs, and they're all too vague and general. So I wanted something to kind of like coach me through the hard times and keep me planning, because I think planning is a practice. So I would say it's my planner because life, no matter the season, whether it's busy or whether it's feeling a little more free, I need to be practicing planning all the time to improve or to fulfill my potential.
Right. Okay. So was there something that happens that meant you needed to be as organized as you could? What was the background to you creating that planner?
Yeah, I was really stressed out. Again, I had two toddlers at the time. They're only 12 months apart. So,
Oh my God.
what they call those ones that are within 12 months. Mine are 12 and 2 weeks, but still it was very difficult, two in diapers. And I was taking classes double time for my English writing degree. And it was just so hard to kind of try to balance everything. And I was like, I need to build routines, which is really hard with children at home. And so I was like, I need structure, I need routine, I need to know what day of the week it is versus this is the day that, we're potty training today, right? And I didn't want another month to go by where I wasn't making big progress towards my writing, my fiction writing. So, because I was doing plenty of writing in school, reading and writing, and I was doing writing for local magazines for about 16 to 17 months. I did that. And that's hard work. That's a lot of research hours and interview hours and things like that. So but I was like, I don't want the only time of year I write to be in November, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just a combination of being really stressed out, having high anxiety because I felt like my life was never my own. I was like, I need something. And actually, I did this in the middle of NaNoWriMo. I put my beloved project aside and I was like, I really need this thing. I need it printed before the new year starts. And I needed something to make sure that I was actually writing every month, working on my fiction, and staying organized in my schoolwork. So
Mm,
this did it. This helped me stay on top of all of those things.
yeah.
And it revolutionized my life. Not just plug that, but finding something and really making something that worked for me allowed me to, I wouldn't say balance. I think balance is this mythical thing, this, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow we're always chasing. But as far as we can say balance, it helped me balance my life. It helped me feel less stressed and less anxious. I knew where I was going. I had a better idea of how long it would take me to go there. And I didn't have to sacrifice my writing anymore or put it on a shelf.
Yeah. I know what you mean about balance. I've got a toddler and it's just completely crackers. I thought it's way harder than looking after one child. So getting your
Yes.
writing in at the same time is, that's a good job just doing that. It's
Yeah.
quite interesting that you did the planner during NaNoWriMo. You kind of used NaNoWriMo to make your planner, which I guess there's nothing wrong with that, is there? That's the time you
No.
use for it. Yeah, you still created
Yeah,
your book. It's just not the book you set out to create. Now,
exactly.
I've seen your planners and they're really in depth. Like they really go step by step, everything you should be doing throughout the year in order to get your book written. Just before we go on to what the steps are, is there a different way of doing it for maybe non-fiction and fiction authors, or are the steps more or less the same process?
Yeah, so I set this up to be like feeling like I'm right there with you and kind of guiding you along and coaching you and reminding you of the things that may be important to you. But I'd say for fiction and nonfiction writers, it's really close. You still have project goals, you still have target deadlines, you still have these different aspects of marketing and sales and what is your writing goal, if especially if you're nonfiction, you're writing a lot with blogs or with guest blogs or with any kind of feature, publication you're trying to get into. So you still have a lot of writing goals every month and you still have sales goals. And I think I do a good job, regardless of your genre or style, of giving you ways to track that and to set goals or set targets. I like to say better than goals.
So that's really important about the setting the goals, because a lot of authors, they struggle with their organization and being clear. So obviously you've got goal setting as one of the key areas they should focus on. Are there any other focuses that disorganized people or people who don't feel they're as organized as they could be should be focusing on first? Just a quick shout out to all the romance authors out there. Now, if you're tired of shouting into the void every time you launch a brand new romance book, then let myromancereads.com do the shouting for you. They have a list of over 18,000 romance readers who love getting books when they're on discounts or on the free promotion. And it goes into their inbox every single day. It's got an amazing open rate, and every promotion gets on average over 600 clicks. That's a lot of new readers for your new series of romance books. So head to myromancereads.com where you can sign up today.
Yeah, I would say do my favorite exercise, and that is the brain dump, because every everything that's going on in your brain that isn't attended to is like an open loop. So to close those loops, or at least kind of put a salve on them, we have to write them down. So write them down. I prefer writing by hand because I think that more effort helps you kind of focus your thoughts. And then, you don't have tabs open on your notebook. You have tabs open on your browser. Like I've got like a million tabs, which I closed for you, by the way. So, but yeah, so write it all down and then highlight, like, I know a lot of people really like to separate their list. This is what I need to do for the house and the family and my writing and my sales and my marketing. But I really like when you put them all together, because when you put all those things together, and I tell you, take a highlighter and pick three. Pick three things that must be done. And hopefully they're things that are easy and can be done real quick, because then you build momentum. So, but pick three things that really need to be done today. And you start building that momentum and you start seeing what's really important. If you have all those different lists, it's easy to still feel overwhelmed versus make one giant list and then start, just highlight your three. And this is what I need to do before anything else is done.
Mm.
And it feels a lot more doable. And then take a big fat marker and cross them off so they're invisible. And you get that little tiny dopamine hit that helps build your momentum so you can do the bigger things. Sometimes, writing the blog post feels a lot more overwhelming if you've built it up in your mind to be overwhelming. It feels a lot more overwhelming than changing out the laundry, So
Yeah, exactly.
do something that needs to be done, but can give you that little dopamine boost and help you build momentum. And then you can say, okay, I can't procrastinate on this thing that feels scary anymore. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, definitely. When I used to work in project management, I had a really boring corporate job, but I was quite good at being organized in that. And we had this concept in agile delivery, which is like a way of delivering projects, where you got these big projects and we'd call them rocks, and you'd break them down into pebbles. And one rock is made of loads of pebbles, but a pebble you can pick up and a rock you can't. And so it's about taking those big things and breaking it down into things you can actually achieve. My organization method is very similar to yours. I think I basically just have this long list that I'm looking at on a big book. And I get really nice notebooks so that I like writing in them.
Yes.
And then I just break it down into the things I want to do those days. So that's a really good tip, and I think is the best way to progress.
Yeah. I feel like it's really helpful for people who are just feeling like, oh, nothing works, or I'm stuck, or I'm just overwhelmed, or in a functional freeze, especially. It's
Yeah,
I think the fastest way to get out of it from my personal experience.
yeah, for sure. So let's have a look at this planning process throughout a year. So what are the steps that authors need to go through in order to plan their book throughout the year? Because I know your planner focuses on a whole year. That's kind of the aim of it. So let's go through those steps.
Yeah. So the first thing I like people to do is really set their big vision. Like, what do you actually want from life? And how does writing fit into that? Think about how you envision yourself in your ideal life and where would writing fit in your day? Okay.
Okay.
So if we know that, we can connect to more authentic and meaningful goals about you as a person and what you desire in this very finite life. So I think that's a huge step that a lot of people just kind of, they either don't get encouraged to do it or they don't take the time to do it because they say, oh, well, all these people I admire are doing XYZ, so I want to do that too. I want people to be really authentic about their goals because that meaning carries you through the hard times and carries you through the dips and the struggles and the dark night of the soul. So first it's that, and then it's saying, okay, what is my average time to write a book? How long? What is my target length? How do I break this down? What months do I have vacations or family events? Or if the kids are home during the summer, are they pretty independent, or are they, high, attention needs? So what do they need from me? Because when they're teenagers, they don't want anything to do with you, which is, a blessing and a curse. So but yeah, so it's different for everybody. And that's why I think you have to look at your year and understand what happens in each season, what happens in each month, your energy levels, because we're not machines. So I'm really leaning into this. The planner actually helped me do this, was realize that I have fallow periods, and that is the end of January to through February and to about early to mid March. That is my
Right.
fallow period. That is when I don't know if it's, and I've talked to my doctor about this. I have, she loves my coping, and my coping is just to have as little on my schedule as possible to avoid like the depths of seasonal depression. But that if I just lay fallow, like we have done for millennia, during that season, during the winter, then I come out of it with so much more fire. So understand your own energy cycles. So that's what I like you to lay out 12 months, make notes about each month and what your obligations are, what your energy is usually like, if you know. If not, you can start tracking it and then start building your plan around that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for
So,
the first, as I said, so it's interesting that you start with not the book. You start with looking at your life and thinking, okay,
yes,
when am I most effective? What are the roadblocks coming up? Is my
exactly.
son doing his exams this year? Have I got a football final this year? Are there any events I want to go to? So you want to plan yourself around that. Is it my 50th
Yes.
birthday party? I'm not
Yeah.
going to be working a week either side that because I'm going to be drinking. That sort of thing.
Yes.
So that's interesting that you say, okay, before we even think about the book, let's think about your year as a whole. And if you're like, you kind of hibernate a bit during the winter, then you need to factor
Yep.
that in and say, well, we're not going to get much done then, so we can use that as family time and
Yep.
take that out. That's really interesting.
Yep.
I haven't even thought about doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like, our agricultural cycles.
Yeah.
So it's just super important. But yeah, I actually have a course in my thing in sorry, my website, but in my course library that is just holistic planning and
Yeah.
is the foundation for everything that I teach. Holistic planning. I don't think you can plan your writing and your sales and all that well if you're not integrating it with the rest of your life.
Yeah. That is really interesting. So what's the next step after that? So once you've planned out what the rest of your year is, what's the next step for the book?
Yeah. So then it's about, the drafting phase. So how long is it going to take you to draft your target length book and that, ensuring that your target length is, well, at least me, I do my market research and I say, okay, what's the target length? I love K-lytics. Okay. I
Yeah.
love K-lytics and I use that and say, okay, what is the target length of the best, or the average length of the best sellers? And then how do I replicate that? Or that's what I'm going to set my target word count for. And then I say, okay, how long is it going to take me to write a book? How long does it take me? Okay, I can write as long as I'm getting my time every day. I can write about 1,000 words an hour. I know it's not 5,000 words per hour like Chris
That's
Fox,
a
which
lot.
I love, but it works for me and it works for how much I get pulled away for family stuff.
Yeah.
Especially again with a toddler at home, I don't have daycare, so it's just me and she comes first. But if she takes her nap, then I get 2 hours where I can just write and I can get easily 1,000 words an hour, and 2,000 words a day adds up pretty quickly.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
with
So it's,
3 or 4,000 words a day on the weekend. So
yeah. So it sounds like you use some sort of different productivity methodologies inside your planner as well. This sounds a bit like time boxing to me, where you
yeah,
think, how much can you do in this time? And let's set that time apart. Have you
yeah.
been taking inspiration from those sort of project management type books?
Yes. Well, I don't know if I listen to or project management, but I do have friends who are project managers who tell me it's a
Yeah.
lot like I kind of embody those kinds of principles. But I do listen to a lot of productivity books and I listen to like Brendan Burchard and of course Atomic Habits. I really, really love those books. I listen to Brendan Burchard's Daily Fire every day on the Growth Day app. And that's not a plug, but it's incredibly helpful because I think you have to add the motivation to momentum or motivation to discipline to gain momentum. But I love time blocks because there's this fallacy where the work will expand to fill the time allotted.
Yes.
So if you don't put an end cap on tasks that aren't moving the needle, you could spend so much time on stuff that isn't making a difference.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I love time blocking. The Pomodoro method is okay if depending on what phase you're in. If it works for you, great. Like I am the last person to say, or to dispense prescriptive methods for for working or planning or productivity. I don't think there's one way that works. I think it depends on the season you're in. It depends on your personality, based on a lot of stuff I've seen and a lot of feedback on my planner. A lot of people tell me it's ADHD friendly, and they're like, do you have ADHD? I was like, I'm told I might, but I'm not diagnosed with anything. But it sounds a lot like me. And so I think there's just so many variables on what's going to work for you. I think the important thing is actually trying something for 90 days. I really
Hmm.
think it takes a 90-day trial period, not I'm going to try something for a week and see if it works. No, you got to give something 90 days of really, really decent focus and commitment in order to determine whether or not it works for you.
Yeah. It feels achievable doing stuff just for 90 days. I found the Pomodoro technique works quite nicely for me because it works well with the
Yeah.
time boxing, because you split your
Yeah.
hours up and then you say, okay, here I'm going to work 25 minutes on this. That seems doable. Even if you're thinking, I'm really not looking forward to work today, I just want to go on Twitter or do something else. If
Yeah.
you can usually do 25 minutes and then you can say, okay, well, after that, we can go and have a cup of tea or something. So the time boxing, that aspect of it, you're planning out how many words you're going to write. What's the next step in the planning the book?
Okay. So what I like to do is, and some people it takes them a whole year to write a book. Some people it takes a lot less time. I don't lay out those steps explicitly in the book, in the planner, I mean. But if somebody is trying to write a book, I would say the next step is contact your cover designer if you're an independent publisher. Contact your editor, contact your formatter, contact a proofreader who will proofread before you send it to formatting, you know, and then kind of start getting your ducks in a row, plan a marketing month while your book is with your editor. I like to say that's not your month to rest. That's your month to do all the marketing you've been worried about. So
Yeah.
that's kind of thing how I do things, kind of leapfrogging different tasks and, around, of course, the holistic planning of life.
Yeah, brilliant. So those are the kind of the three steps. It's like working out your year, working out how much you can write, and then working out the steps for
Yes.
each plan you're going to do.
Breaking
Do
it down
you?
into pebbles.
Yeah, break it down as pebbles. Exactly. Yeah, you could become a project manager.
Yeah.
Does the now once you've got that book written, obviously that's just the first step. You've then got how you get that book to get out to the market, how you get it sold, how you get it on Amazon. However you're going to sell it. So how do you focus on those parts of the authoring journey during the planner? Just a quick shout out to all the romance authors out there. Now, if you're tired of shouting into the void every time you launch a brand new romance book, then let myromancereads.com do the shouting for you. They have a list of over 18,000 romance readers who love getting books when they're on discounts or on the free promotion. And it goes into their inbox every single day. It's got an amazing open rate, and every promotion gets on average over 600 clicks. That's a lot of new readers for your new series of romance books. So head to myromancereads.com where you can sign up today.
Yeah. So in the planner, I actually have sections in the monthly planning that say, okay, what do I need to do to prepare for future releases? And there's different boxes or lines you can write on with boxes you can tick. And there's a section where you can focus on your sales, and you can put your your audience targeting notes and things like that. It's very open and adaptive to whatever you have going on, because so many people are like, well, I like this method and I like that method. Well, as long as you're writing it down and recording what you're doing, then I think that's very helpful to do whatever you think is working for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I really leave it open. Like, if you want to advertise on Facebook, go for it. What is your advertising platform? What is your budget for that? I have like sales. What are my sales and, that I'm focusing on getting this month? And I'll say, instead of saying a title of a planner, it'll say the planner or planners, and it'll be a target number of sales, and I'll put my marketing budget for it. And then I'll say like my thriller series, and then I'll set targets for that and my marketing budget for that. So, and then any audience targeting notes I have, I put down there so that if I need to go back and say, hey, this month was a better month, I can go back and see what I wrote in my targeting notes when I was setting up those ads or those campaigns or whatever I was doing. Or even if it's a social media campaign with a $0 marketing budget and it's just organic, looking for organic reach, then I can still take those notes and say, okay, this actually worked. Let me replicate what worked before, or kind of hone in on what may have worked that month.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the planners are great. So what's so good is it just sets out everything you need to do. I think, especially for first time writers, but I'm guessing you get lots of repeat customers because they're so good. But especially for first time writers, it literally shows you everything you need to do and the steps you should be taking in order to get that book written. And it's not like a course on how to write a book, but it's more
No.
how you can be productive and how you can keep on track. And that for
Yeah.
so many people have those problems where they're just not staying on track.
Yeah. And that's why I like the monthly review sections. And it's probably my favorite part because it's like monthly coaching. Okay, what went well last month? What would you like to go better this month? What lessons are you carrying forward from last month? And how can you make this month better?
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you be most proud to achieve? I think is the most important question I have in that monthly planning section.
Yeah, definitely. There's a really good book I read on that called Traction, which is all about how it creates what's called an entrepreneurial operating system for your business, which I know sounds quite nerdy, but it basically, yeah, it basically helps you to set your KPIs for your business and how you can track those each month. And then at the end of each month, you review what's happened so that you can plan your KPIs for the next month. And it sounds like that's exactly the method you sort of follow. You do that in the end of month review and go back and check what you've done and how you can set your goals for the next month as well.
Exactly. And that's actually what I took a lot of inspiration from was the entrepreneurial side of my journey and things I was doing back then and what I was learning, what I was taking in. I'm a huge fan of Carrie Green. She's from the UK, she's from Manchester, and she runs the Female Entrepreneurship Association. And it's this monthly thing and she also created a really cool website software, like software as a service. Oh my gosh, it's the whole deal. But anyway, so I was just so inspired by what she was doing and how she was serving the community. And I was like, gosh, these things are so helpful and they're really basic concepts, but the way that they're presented in kind of a coaching format without the cost of coaching, I think this is really important to have that kind of resource available to writers as well. I think we need writers to have that ability to have, just a monthly check-in, a monthly coaching, monthly, hey, explore this topic that you've been avoiding, and that's what I try to do in my planner is give everybody the opportunity to kind of have coaching, but not for like $4, $10, $20,000 a year,
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, a lot of authors struggle with that element of consistency with their writing, and that coaching is great because you're looking back and looking at exactly what you've done and working out how you can improve the next time. What have you got any tips for helping people to be effective with staying consistent, especially when they're stressed? You've got toddlers.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, again, being in touch with your goals and making sure that those goals are actually authentic and meaningful for you. I've been really harping on this meaning thing because it is what ties you to an outcome on that goal.
Yeah.
If it doesn't actually mean something to you deep down, you're not going to stick with it. You're going to find every excuse in the book to not feel like doing it. But if it's meaningful to you and you think, who would I be without this goal? Do I want to be that person? Or do I want to be the person who achieves this goal and this is part of who I am? This is this mountain that I want to climb and put my flag on top of, then if that is what you tie to your identity, you're going to be thinking about it more. I actually keep my published works, my WIPs list, and my yearly targets and quarterly targets on my wall over here. So you can kind of see. Oh, you can't see. Okay. But basically it's on the wall here between the windows because I've got lots of windows here. And it's just really helpful to keep me in touch with And at eye level, I can see my targets for the year,
Yeah.
and I can think about what they mean to me. I write because these characters in my head are like clawing at their prison trying to get out. And it's just part of who I am and who I want to be and how I see myself in the world. And I think once you really explore that feeling and explore what that looks like to you, as in your place in the world as a writer, I think you connect more deeply with that goal. And it's a lot easier to not snooze the alarm. It's a lot easier to not just say, oh, I'll do my planning later, or a lot easier to say, planning sucks. It doesn't work for me.
Hmm.
A lot of people get turned off by the idea of planning. They feel like it's, they get kind of triggered by the word planning or planner. And if you need to do an anti-plan, just set goals, okay? And figure out what you're doing every single day to move that needle forward.
Yeah.
And that is technically a plan, but we'll call it an anti-plan, okay? So, but whatever you need to do to help you, if you're struggling with staying consistent, get in touch with your goals and what they mean to you, and set alarms, set reminders. Sometimes it's hard for people who are not in practice, and it's really a practice. If you don't have a routine, you don't have practices set up, it's really hard to get into those and feel like you're getting there. But if you set alarms every time you're supposed to switch priorities, it can help trigger you and cue you. And if you build in cues and triggers like James Cleary talks about in Atomic Habits, then it's a lot easier, or you can build those routines and habits a lot more quickly.
Yeah.
But like for me, I like to get fancy, cheap candles from TJ Maxx, and then I light a candle. I put on music for whatever I'm writing. Right now, it's Wardruna, Danheim, and Scald is what I'm listening to for what I'm writing right now, which is horror. It's early medieval horror. So so I listen to Viking music, but I put on my music and then I open for the words, which is really helpful. And those are my cues and my triggers this is my time to write.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think those habits can really help because they build up over time. One of the ones that I've found that is the most effective when I'm trying to do something creative, but really with anything. And I learned this from John Cleese, who's a British comedian. I think he's famous in America as well, but
he's famous everywhere.
Yeah, but he wrote a little book called Creativity. It's really small. It's like that big, and he basically works anything he wants to work on before he goes to bed. He just works on it just before he goes to bed and lets his subconscious kind of work on it in the background. And it is one of the habits that I found that has really helped me move forward. I thought it was really interesting. I tried it and it really does work. Even if I just go through my to-do list and just make some notes about it, I find the next day there's stuff I didn't even know was happening. And I wake up in the morning and I see all this new things I can work on. It's great.
Yeah, it's like tuning your mind. I don't want to get too woo, but what I find interesting about the idea of manifesting is that you're just really focusing your mind on finding solutions to the thing that you want. So, like when I first got my dream truck, I have my truck, and all of a sudden I was seeing white extended or king cab trucks everywhere. I'm like, where are all these white, full cab Ford trucks coming from? I've never seen these before. And it's because now I have one. My mind is looking for that similar thing. And so what I tell my clients is, because I work with a very small handful of writers that I coach. And one thing that always ends up coming up right in the beginning of working with someone is like, you can't stay focused, or you can't stay organized, or it's hard to be consistent, is you have to get obsessed with the outcome.
Yeah.
I think that's what manifesting really is. It's being obsessed with
especially as a writer.
Yeah. Not obsessed in a stressful way where you're like, I have to have it or I'm going to ruin the world. No, like obsessed with thinking about it, thinking about solutions. Don't think about, what you're going to have for dinner while you wash your hair. Think about, how am I going to solve this problem? Or think about the story. What's going to happen next? If I'm thinking during those times where I'm touching water about My story, I will have this massive burst of ideas, about how the story can go. And it's just fantastic what just focusing, it's like meditation, actually. It's like anytime if you want to focus on something, you're going to have trouble. But if you keep just gently bringing your mind back to center, right? Bring it back to whatever you're focusing on, gently bringing it back without guilt or shame or like frustration. Oh no, I didn't focus again. It's a lot easier to get used to focusing. It's like practice, it's
Mm,
building new neural pathways and kind of getting out of the old grooves. And even just with building new habits, I would say build one at a time. Let your brain get accustomed to one new habit at a time, and it makes it all a lot more manageable.
yeah, brilliant. And you're clearly a productivity nerd, and that shows up
I love
really.
Excel.
Yeah, the spreadsheet queen. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I love it.
I mean, it shows up really clearly when you go through your planners. I mean, it literally is. This is what you should be doing today. This is how you can set your goals for the year, and this is when you should be achieving those goals and what the plan is. I think it's really great what you've done. If people want to have a check out your planners, where's the best place to find you and where to find the planners?
Yeah, so www.audreyhughey.com. So AudreyHughey.
Yeah. And are all the planners like agnostic for anyone, or do you have particular planners you recommend for particular people?
Yeah. So if you are a new writer, I would say my monthly writing focus planners are a good place to start. If you don't have a lot of things to market, if you have a couple books and you're saying, oh my gosh, I want to improve sales, then you need my big signature planner, which is my yearly planner. It's like the 2025 authors planner is coming out. I have
Hmm.
that on pre-order until November 1st. And then if you want the non-dated version, if you want a little more flexibility with how you build this new habit of planning, then you can get the ultimate authorship planner. But if you're a new writer, I have my Simplicity Writing Planner coming out this fall, hopefully in conjunction with Author Nation in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And that will just be for just writing a full year of planning just to write without the marketing and sales focus and without a lot of the extra stuff that applies to writers a little bit farther along. Because I do hear a lot of people saying, and I wanted to take that in and create something special for more writers in this phase, but they say they don't like wasting the pages, even though they know they can just skip the pages that don't apply to them. They don't like wasting the pages. And I totally get that. And so I wanted to honor that and create a simplicity writing planner.
Yeah.
So,
Great. And you've also got retreats. Can you tell me a bit about
yeah.
those? Because that's quite an unusual concept, I think.
Oh, yeah. So I actually do this yearly writing retreat. It's virtual ever since the pandemic, but we do have an in-person retreat that we do at an Airbnb now in person again, but that's super limited. It sells out right away, and I have small kids, and so I can't do a lot of them in the year. But the main one is the virtual retreat, and that is, I try to keep it super cheap. It's $25 a day, 3 days, and it's instructors, it's morning writing sprints, it's a day focused on writing, a day focused on editing and formatting, and then a day focused on marketing and motivation. And that way you kind of get a little bit of all those things, but the mornings are spent sprinting. Okay. And this last year, we actually had 3 editors and we were able to do like editing workshops. So you could get on a workshop with an editor and have them like watch them do a live markup and walkthrough of somebody's submitted work. So you can see, okay, what is the editor's process for kind of copy in line or content or proofreading or developmental? So what is this person's approach? And then I think it helps writers who are newer, you
Mm,
know, see like this is what editors are typically looking for. This is how they work. This is what you can apply in future drafts. We're catching a lot of things like passive voice is so hard. I think when you're a newer writer, it's so hard to wrap your head around that concept. But when we're using real examples and we're coming up with alternatives live and in an interactive workshop, it just helps bridge that gap so much more quickly.
Yeah.
So I really love what we do there. It's usually really small and intimate. And so everybody gets time with the instructors. And we have where you almost, except for the mornings when we're sprinting, you always have a choice of which class you can attend because we have so many wonderful instructors presenting on different topics.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's all really exciting. I think if you are wanting to be organised, you should definitely check out those planners. I mean, it's literally a step-by-step for what you need to do. So it's going to be absolutely invaluable for you. So thank you very much for joining me. Just before we go, I've got one more question, and that is a book that you recommend that everyone should be reading at the moment.
Okay. Can I make two?
You can make two. You can make 2 or 3 if you want.
Okay. So fiction. I would say The Ritualist by Dakota Crow. Okay. And he even has a Kickstarter for the Grimoire edition, and it's all luxe and beautiful. And I'm so excited about it. So I backed as soon as I heard about it. But I love that whole series, and I love that book one just really sets the world so well. And I think Dakota Crow is just such an example of what is possible in the industry for independent writers and publishers. I think there's so much we can learn from what he's done and how he's built a really, really healthy community of readers, and how he's really honed in on what his style is, which is family friendly. Thank goodness, because I have long drives and kids.
That's actually really handy, because I interviewed him last week. So that's a nice little plug for my episode coming up.
Dakota's amazing, and his wife and his sister. I love them all. So I have special little things I like to deliver to them because they're just so nice, such nice. But yeah, and I found out about him just because I loved his writing, and then he surprised me at Vegas one year and came to my table with my planners and plopped down The Rich List and signed a copy for me, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I think the way he approaches his fans, it just you don't forget Dakota. Once you've met him, you don't forget him. So yeah. And then for nonfiction, I would say it's between, I love Atomic Habits. I love it. But I also love Brendon Burchard's 6 Habits of Growth.
Let's go for that one then.
And 6 Habits of Growth. I think it's crucial, and we're talking about habits, and people want to grow into the writer that they have been dreaming of, Yeah. So 6 Habits of Growth by Brendon Burchard.
Great. I haven't got that one, and everyone's read Atomic Habits, so I think we'll stick to that one.
Yes.
Okay. But thank you very much. It's been great chatting to you. I'm feeling energized to go and be organized the rest of the year. So thank you.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance Podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but are not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Publishing Performance Show. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I absolutely love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, I want to tell you about our Publishing Performance Starter Packs. These are curated episodes and collections organised by topic that makes it super easy to find the exact content you're looking for. So whether you're wanting to deep dive into marketing strategies, explore productivity techniques, or focus on any specific area of publishing, we've organised our episodes into targeted playlists just for you. And you can find these all at teddyagsmith.com. And also, whilst you're here, let me tell you about Publishing Performance. It's the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales but aren't really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns for you, to choose your best keywords and to make adjustments in real time and to optimize them over time to save you money and to make more sales. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. You can get started with Amazon ads for free for 30 days at publishingperformance.com, and there's a link in the show notes to get that free 30 days trial. Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance Show. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I absolutely love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, I want to tell you about our Publishing Performance Starter Packs. These are curated episodes and collections organised by topic that makes it super easy to find the exact content you're looking for. So whether you're wanting to deep dive into marketing strategies, explore productivity techniques, or focus on any specific area of publishing, we've organised our episodes into targeted playlists just for you. And you can find these all at teddyagsmith.com. And also, whilst you're here, let me tell you about Publishing Performance. It's the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales but aren't really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books, and if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns for you, to choose your best keywords and to make adjustments in real time and to optimize them over time to save you money and to make more sales. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. You can get started with Amazon ads for free for 30 days at publishingperformance.com, and there's a link in the show notes to get that free 30 days trial.